Okay, the second main type that things can come into and out of the cell is called active transport. Active, so use a lot of energy. Energy is used in active transport. For example, medications that you take have to get into your cells, have to get into your bloodstream to actually work. So your gut or your intestine is surrounded by all these very, very small blood vessels called capillaries. And it has to get from your intestine into the blood. So it does that through a process called active transport. So if you take medicine orally, so you consume it through your mouth, swallow it, goes down the esophagus, the stomach, and to the intestine. And intestine is a location where small intestines, where things are absorbed into your bloodstream. So once it gets into the intestine, it has to get out of the intestine into your blood. So there's a border, like a intestinal blood border, going from intestine to blood. And in the cell membrane of the intestine, the lining of your intestines, you have these transporters, these things that'll pick up the drug and move them to the blood. So they're going from your intestine to your bloodstream. But that is done using energy. Also, crossing the blood-brain barrier. So, blood-brain barrier, BBB. If your brain needs a lot of oxygen, needs sugar, needs energy. So your brain is also surrounded with all these small blood vessels called capillaries. And the capillaries are very, very, very thin. In fact, they're like one cell thick, the walls of the capillaries. So oxygen, obviously, and carbon dioxide can diffuse out of the blood vessels to your brain. But larger molecules like glucose would need facilitated transport through a straw with the channels in the membrane. And there are other things that are even larger than that, like hormones or medicine, that have to get into your brain cells. And to do that, they are actually pumped in using active transport, so using energy. So active transport is using energy. So you're going against the concentration gradient. In other words, you're going where there's not many to where there's a lot. Just like if you were, just like if you're at school and you're going to the cafeteria. And at first you're only eating things in the vending machine. So there weren't many people around the vending machine. There's only a few people around the vending machines. But the cafeteria is packed with people. And so when you get into the cafeteria, you almost have to push your way through to get in. So that's like active transport. You're going from where there aren't many people to where there's a ton of people. You gotta kind of fight your way in. It takes energy because you're going from where there aren't many people to where there's a lot of people, against the concentration gradient. So you're going from low concentration to high concentration. That's going to require a lot of pushing to get your way through the crowds to get to the cafeteria or to get in line for your lunch. Think about it that way. So the reverse then would be going with the concentration gradient. So that's, let's say you're in lunch in the cafeteria where it's packed with people, and you decide, today I'm just going to eat whatever's from the vending machine outside. So you can easily flow out of that cafeteria where there's a lot of space and there's very few people by the vending machines. So going out of the cafeteria didn't require any energy, because you went from where there's a lot of people, high concentration of people, to where there is a low concentration of people. That's easy to do. Just no energy, You moved out. But moving into that cafeteria takes a lot of work, so it requires a lot of energy. So that is comparing passive transport to active transport. So passive transport would be going from a packed cafeteria to outside by the vending machines where there aren't many people. Active transport would be going then the opposite direction, going from the vending machines where there's a few people, pushing your way into the cafeteria where it's packed with people. So that's just comparison between two ways things can get into and out of the cell. Now, once these things get in and out of the cell, there's reactions that have to happen. We need energy, we gotta use energy, we gotta remove waste products, and those processes are called metabolism. So metabolism is really all of the chemical processes that occur inside your cells.